Alright guys, welcome to another preview season video for the upcoming Magic the Gathering set, Guilds of Ravnica. This is preview day, September 10th, 2018. Pre-release is just about 2.5 weeks away, so we've got some really good cards to talk about. We're going to dive in and kind of go from here. Make sure if you are not subscribed to the channel, head over to youtube.com/72DPI online. Get subscribed. If you are subscribed, leave a comment, give us a like, whatever you got to do to show that you enjoy these videos, and we'll keep making them whether you do or not. So we really appreciate it. Have a good one, and let's get started right now. And we're going to start with Damir. We've got Damir Informant. This is a simple 1/4 for 3 mana. It's a human rogue at common, and when she enters the battlefield, you surveil 2. That's it. It's a great early blocker, especially in limited. So you'll play a couple of these, and obviously. With limited and sealed, especially, any type of surveil or scry effects that you can get is just icing on the cake. Damir is going to be one of those clans that, or one of those guilds that really is going to interact with the graveyard really well. So this is a great way to kind of get an early start to it. At 3 mana is a 1/4 really worth it? Not really. But as if it turns out to be a slower format, it's going to work out just fine. And then we've got Dream Eater is a mythic rare 4/3 for 6 mana. That's 4 generic 2 blue. It's got flash, flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you surveil 4. And when you do, you may return target non-land permanent an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So not too shabby, a little on the expensive side, but again, this is probably going to be a finisher. 4/3 is nothing to scoff at, especially with flash. And the nice thing about this is you can actually keep this back and then also have like counter magic available. So like your mid to late games, at the end of their turn, representing a couple counter spells, with 6 open mana or so. If they don't play anything, then you can play this. If they do play something, then you can, in response, you can do this as well. You can bounce the thing that they just played, things like that, kind of interact with that. So there's a couple different ways to utilize this creature in the late game to your advantage. So it doesn't look great right now, but I think it's definitely going to find a home in control decks for sure. It's just finding out if we've got the rest of the deck to build something around this. Next up, we've got a split card, or excuse me, not split card, hybrid mana card. We've got Whisper Agent. This is 1 generic and then either blue, black, or black. One of those combinations. It's a human rogue at commons, a 3/2 with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you surveil 1. So we've got Damir Informant, which doesn't have flash, but it's got basically 5 power, like 5 total stat, and the Whisper Agent, which has 5 total with flash. A little bit harder to cast because it's got the dual mana, the hybrid mana in there, but the flash I think helps out a lot. Only surveilling once versus surveilling twice is kind of a trade-off. It's an interesting card when you compare it to Damir Informant. I don't know. I mean, I definitely like the 1/4 better. It's definitely a much better blocker. It dies to a lot less spells, but then again, you've got a 1/4. So if you've got a way to kind of clear the way, if you can get through 3 damage with this Whisper Agent, then if it's deal 3. Deal 3 and then surveil 1 for 3 mana. That's not too bad, right? Not too bad at all. Especially with the flash ability, casting, leaving mana up on your 3rd turn, might grant you some advantage there. So not too bad. So we're gonna move on to Boros. Sunhome Stolart is a 2/2, is a bear. For 2 mana. It's a human soldier, uncommon. It has first strike and mentor. And to remind everybody, mentor is whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. So hopefully you got some 1X's out there that you can build up and get some use out of this. Otherwise, it's a 2/2 bear with first strike. Not to say that you can't build the sun home up. That's definitely a possibility. So to really kind of stack that mentor ability up. Next up, we got another bear in white. It's 1 generic, 1 white at a rare 2/2 bounty agent. This is a human soldier with vigilance, and then you can tap her and sacrifice her. Destroy target legendary permanent that's an artifact, creature, or enchantment. So sorcery removal, not too bad. It's obviously if this is down on the field, they're not going to play their big thing first, their legendary, or they're not going to play, their sealed away or anything like that, or their creatures and stuff. Oh, I guess it's legendary permanent. That's an artifact creature. Okay, I guess I probably should reread that, right? So target legendary permanent that's an artifact creature or enchantment. So, I'm kind of curious. Legendary artifact, legendary enchantment. I mean, this is a good way to get rid of the sagas because those are legendary, if I remember correctly. But in sealed, this really isn't going to be anything major. Two-headed giant, you won't play this. Sealed, you'll keep this in your sideboard, and if you see like 4 legendary targets, then obviously you bring it in. But other than that, it's. Next up, we have another split card here. We've got it's 1 red, 1 white, 1 generic for a 2/1 fresh-faced recruit. Try saying that 10 times fast. It's a human soldier at common. As long as it's your turn, it has first strike. Not too bad as far as like the stats go, but 2/1s are always, they're extremely weak, obviously. It's going to trade up when you attack, but on defense, it's going to take down their 3/2s, and that's about it. It's not going to do much else. It's very prone to instant removal and damage and stuff like that, so just be cautious of that. Don't get blown out with adding any enchantments and things like that on that. I would probably steer clear of this. Definitely steer clear of this. Next up, we got our gold cards. First up, we have Is It. We've got a reprint with Goblin Electromancer. This is a 2/2 for 1 blue, 1 red. It's Goblin Wizard at common. Instants and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to play or to cast. This was a fun card. It's definitely, something you have to build around in limited. Obviously, non-creature spells, instants and sorcerers and things like that. You can't have too many of those in your limited and sealed decks, only because board presence wins games. So this is, it's kind of a catch-22. You got to be cautious. There really has to be some strong cards to go along with this, which is it's known for. They have strong spells. Sometimes they're overcosted because of Goblin Electromancer or abilities like this. So you have to be cautious. So for an example, Hypothesizel is 3 generic, 1 blue, 1 red, and it is let's see here. It's a instant at at common, and you draw 2 cards, then you may discard a non-land card. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target creature. So this costing 4 isn't too bad. Pay 4, draw 2 cards, not too bad, and then the possibility of dealing 4, a removal spell mixed in. So combining 2 cards into 1, combining a card draw with creature removal isn't too bad. I like the fact that it's 4 damage and not 3. 3 is solid removal, but 4 catches a lot more things on the mid game. So definitely interesting. Playing 1 or 2 of these in your deck is probably the most out of 40 that you want to go. I wouldn't go more than that. I'd even be hesitant on that second one. But if you've got like a Goblin Electromancer in there, then that might go ahead and up it up to 2, and get some value out of it. So next up, we've got another returning fan. Niv Mizzet Perron is 3 red, 3 blue for a rare 5/5 legendary creature, Dragon Wizard. This spell cannot be countered. He's got flying. Whenever you draw a card, he deals 1 damage to any target, creature, player, planeswalker. And then whenever a player casts a instant or sorcery spell, you get to draw a card. And keep in mind, that's any player. So your opponent plays a spell, an instant or sorcery, you're drawing a card, and then you're dealing 1 damage. So you kind of see how that can get out of control real quick. So just to keep an eye out. The spells are heavy. If you can get some board presence, and you're able to control the board with your removal spells, more power to you. Right? Build out that spell deck, but just be cautious, because if you can't remove their creatures, they're dealing you damage turn after turn, and that's where you're gonna go. That's where you're gonna start getting some hurt. Next up, we've got Silencio and Golgari cards. We've got March of the Multitudes. This is X green, white, white for a mythic rare instant spell. It's got Convoke, so that means you can tap your creatures to help pay for the cost, whether it's colorless, green, or white, depending on the creature that you're tapping. Keep in mind that you can tap summoning 6 creatures, so if you play a creature, you can tap it that turn. You can kind of go off with this card as well, because the card itself creates X11 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. So you can use those tokens that you've created to cast another one of these. Now, granted, that's not probably going to happen in limited very often, or sealed for that matter, because it's mythic rare. But that is a real scenario, inside of Magic Christmas Land, of course, but being able to tap down those creatures that you just brought into the battlefield to pay for another Convoke spell. So if you're building out a Convoke deck, this is definitely a must add. This is also another great card for going wide. Obviously, it's instant speed, so casting at the end of your opponent's turn just makes it that much stronger, so you can really catch your opponents off guard, especially when it comes to like blocking and things like that. If you have a way to give your creatures indestructible, or buff your creatures so that they're +1/+1, +2/+2, or whatever the case may be, Death Touch would be another great addition to these instant soldiers. Not only are you getting the life, but you're also taking instantly removing whatever you're blocking. So a solid card all around. This is going to be really interesting to see the rest of Silencio, to see what's available in it. We don't have Orzhov in this set, so the likelihood of Death Touch making it into this set is very minimal. Damir might have some. We might have some in Golgari, but again, that's bringing in the third color with Silencio. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, to say the very least. Samala Woodshaper is next. She is a 2/1 for 4 mana. Whew. Yikes. It's an elf druid at common, and when she enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature or enchantment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. This is just don't play this. This is a flat out F. There's no way. It's nice that you're able to look at the top 4 cards and grab a creature or enchantment or whatever. That's nice, but what if you miss, right? I mean, you're obviously looking for a creature. The fact that you're getting a 2/1 body on that type of ability, I don't know. It's already costing you. It's already restrictive in the sense that it's 1 green and 1 white. If this was green and 3 and a 2/1, then I could kind of see it. This one, look at the top 5 cards, reveal a creature, enchantment, or artifact, maybe, give us a little bit more than just creature enchantment type of thing. Enchantments in sealed and limited are always traps. So this is clearly looking for a creature, but we do get a really good card, Assassin's Trophy. This is their first Golgari card for the day. It's green and it's black. 1 of each, at rare, instant, destroy target permanent and opponent controls. If you do, if you cast a spell and let's say you blow up their planeswalker, right? That its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. This is a huge spell. Kind of mixing Abrupt Decay and Swords of Plowshares in your modern and legacy formats. Abrupt Decay is a pretty well played card in the modern format. It was probably like, I think it was like a $25 to $30 card in when it was in standard. I believe it's actually gone up since then. This is a really, really good card. Kind of makes me, I mean, premium removal, play it every time, but it's rare, so you're not going to get, a ton of them. You're not going to see a ton of them, but it's definitely going to, if you open it, this is going to pull you into that color for sure. It's a premium removal. Like, you can remove anything you want, lands, if need be, things like that. So, yeah. And they search for a basic land. So they don't even get, like, if you destroy, like, their shock land, they can't search up another shock. They gotta, it's Assassin's Trophy. Very, very good. Then rounding out the Golgari, we have a Zona, Thousand-Eyed. It's 2 black, 2 green, 2 generic for a 2/3 elf shaman at rare. It has Undergrowth. And then when she enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token for each creature card in your graveyard. So obviously, when you play this, you have to have your graveyard filled up, which is great because she costs 6. She's a 2/3, which is kind of on the side, so it's not really, clearly they want you to wait to play this. They could have gave her a little bit better stats on the front side. Death Touch would have been a great addition to this card because A, you're going to get an army of 1/1s right when you play her, and then B, she can, you can chump block something, right? Recur her, and then she has this other cool ability that allows you to pay black, pay green, sacrifice another creature. You gain 1 life and draw a card. So Death Touch, I think, would have made this card like complete, right? So like on turn 6, you drop her. Let's say you have 2 creatures in the graveyard. You get 2 1/1s, right? And then you pay the 2 mana, sacrifice, your first, your 1, your 2, your 3 drops, all that stuff. Those all go to your graveyard. You're gaining life, you draw cards, filling your hand back up. And then you have like a sacrifice outlet, right? You've got a way to sacrifice her to do something. So she goes to your graveyard. Or maybe you chump block, right? You chump block. If she's got Death Touch, you chump block, or it stops them from attacking you. And if they don't attack you, then you self-sacrifice her. She goes to your graveyard. You recur her back, and now you have all the creatures that you had in your graveyard before when you cast her originally, plus the creatures you sacrificed using her, and now your board is that much stronger. So I think Death Touch, for 6 mana, a 2/3 with Death Touch and upside is definitely worth it. At this point, she's just a chump blocker. She's not going to kill anything, unfortunately, but I think Death Touch would have put her over the edge. Next up, we've got Chromatic Lantern. This is a reprint, I think, from Ravnica. Return to Ravnica, actually. It's 3 generic for a rare artifact. Lands you control have, quote, tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Of course, they took out mana pool. They don't say mana pool anymore. And then it also taps itself for any color. This is a functional reprint. It's well needed. The card's over $10. It's been reprinted twice, I believe, 2 or 3 times, and the card's still over $10. So it's a great addition to the set. It's a good callback, and it's welcome in any deck. You open this up in limited, you're going to play it every time. And then next up we have our split cards. We got 2 of them here. Response, which is hybrid mana again, white red. Instant at rare. Response deals 5 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Resurgence is 3 red white for a sorcery rare. Creatures you control gain first strike and vigilance until end of turn. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. So I think the theme here is early game, late game, right? Early game, you want to get rid of their 2 or 3 drop or whatever with response, dealing 5 damage to an attacking or blocking creature. You can kind of coax people into blocking. It's a great bluff card as well. If you've got 2 mana open, it's a great bluff card. It's a rare, so you're not gonna get many of them, obviously. And then Resurgence is a win card, right? Your opponent calculates the math out, and they'd be like, I've got 2 turns, and you attack, and then you attack again. The interesting thing though that you have to they have vigilance. Okay, there we go. I was gonna say it doesn't say untap, but it does give your creatures vigilance, so they don't tap to attack, so they can attack again. So there we go. Makes sense. I wonder if they did that on purpose because of the keyword and the wording of creatures. You can untap each creature and then additional combat fight. I wonder if they did that on purpose to make it smaller, because it's like there's no room on that text box whatsoever. Next up, we've got Find and Finality. We have Find is green, black, hybrid mana, rare sorcery. Return up to 2 target creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Finality is 4 generic, 1 black, 1 green. For a sorcery rare, you may put 2/1/+ counters on a creature you control. Then all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. Holy cow. That's really, really strong. The one thing I want you to keep in mind, though, is these cards do not have fuse, so you cannot cast them both. You can only pick one or the other. You cannot cast them both. So choose wisely if you're going to play, the Find or the Response in the early game, because you won't have the second half, the later half of the card at the end of the game. So you want to make sure that you're not just taking down like a 2/1 or a 2/2 with your 5 damage spell. You want to try and take care of that with another creature or another spell, because Resurgence might be your win condition. That might be your bomb rare right there. Then Finality, the board wipe ability, that's something like if you're playing against a white deck, or if they've got white green in their deck, I'm going to need to go wide. They're going to go wide. I'm going to need to clear the board. So that -4/-4 ability is going to come in handy. So yeah, we'll see. So I definitely like the Boros version card better. So I'm kind of curious what the other ones are going to be. So. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and leave a comment. Tell me what guild you're looking to play at pre-release coming up in a couple weeks. I personally am leaning towards Izzet, but we'll see. It kind of depends on what cards you open, right? You can't just force a color or force a guild. You got to kind of look at what do the cards say, right? What do the cards say? Make sure you tune into the Mana Drain. It goes live every Monday evening on twitch.tv/72DPI online. We're going to get ready to start that back up shortly here. So make sure you keep an eye out on that channel. Get subscribed there so you can get notified when we go live. Talking about all things Magic the Gathering on that channel or on that show. And we will see you guys back here tomorrow for day 2 of preview season for Guilds of Ravnica. Have a great night, everybody.